So it's good to say hello to everybody. Happy New Year. It's the first time that I've been able to say hello since the year has flipped. And um, I wanted to begin by starting off with uh, a message that was kind of fitting in tandem with the last presentation that I gave, which was Tulku Thondup, one of my teachers, talking about how training in our life um, can take many shapes and forms, and how that can apply in the context of our awakening, our growth, both spiritually and mentally, and the methods by which we can achieve that. So what I wanted to do was to start off with a quote from Bruce Lee. And as you guys know, I find it very interesting as I listen to Bill, how his participation and teaching in Tai Chi Chuan has influenced his philosophical study as well. And I find it also very interesting how when because we don't talk at all, and when he prepares these lecture presentations, how closely it correlates to what I'm thinking about, because it was talk of a similar nature. Of course, one of the arts that I teach, and kind of the main thing that we teach at our facility, is Jeet Kune Do, which is Bruce Lee's art. And one of Bruce's quotes has to do with training leading to a sense of awakening or realization. And many times, because Bruce was kind of a hotshot guy, I never knew him, but I've trained with all of the main pupils that he had that were serious martial artists, not so much the movie star guys, but the people who really studied martial art and viewed him as their instructor. And of course, most notably of which was Sifu Jerry. And one of the characteristics with Bruce Lee that often comes out is he was a young hotshot guy, and he was also a movie star. So was he in fact a valid actual martial arts teacher, and was he a teacher at all? Because he was known for having an ego and fell into a lot of the trappings of the world of being a movie star and all of the associated issues that go with that. So when we talk about that, so was he a wise teacher? So you see I have up there a picture of Bruce, which is kind of the fancy movie star version, and then compared to one of my current teachers, Tulku Thondup, and that's a quandary. So I wanted to evaluate that a little bit based on his teachings. And I think one of the things that we want to look at is what actually defines a wise teacher. So if you look to see, a teacher is someone, in terms of the specific definition, a person or a thing that teaches something, especially a person whose job it is to teach students about certain subjects. And then if we look at the definition of wise, having the power of discerning and judging properly as to what is true or right, possessing discernment, judgment, or discretion. So the quote that I wanted to bring up, I think we can take a look at what this quote says, what it means, and that can give us a little bit of a glimpse into the workings of Bruce Lee's mind, which is this: this evening I see something totally new, and that newness is experienced by the mind. But tomorrow that experience becomes mechanical if I try to repeat the sensation, the pleasure of it. The description is never real. What is real, seeing the truth instantaneously, because truth has no tomorrow. So as always, there is an immense amount of information in just a few lines. yet it's still completely simple. So this first paragraph, I didn't read the second one. We'll discuss that in a second. But the first, it really points out the dichotomy between thought and being. This duality of perception and the it, in quotation marks, holds a strong emphasis in Eastern thought, certainly. So if you guys certainly who are movie fans and martial arts movie fans know in Enter the Dragon, Bruce Lee says, I didn't hit, it hit all by itself. So what is he saying when he means that? He's referring to this principle of spontaneous action, so the principle of Wu Wei. And Wu Wei, it's more than just an automatic response so that you hit instinctually or so that your response or your reaction becomes instinctual because you've trained so much. It's, as Derek has mentioned many times, this principle of spontaneous action, this burgeoning potential for action that lies in wait, ready for this action, for this energy to ignite it into existence. And being able to realize that and being able to experience that, that's what leads to this principle, this real sense of enlightenment. So if we take a look at Wu Wei, it's far beyond, well, mindlessness. So mindlessness, I'm sure you guys are all acquainted with it. We've all shown instances of that. I'm sure we can, certainly agree on that. But having had two teenagers, I definitely know what a state of mindlessness is. And I'm sure some of you guys can relate to that as well. But that's certainly not Wu Wei. It's not a lack of substance. It's this endless field of possibilities that exist spontaneously within each moment. And that it just erupts from that, from this experience of being. So we can draw on that for inspiration and for creativity. The it is where we become one with the universe, and we can't manipulate that with thought or with the intellect. And likewise, we can't think our way into this state of mind. It simply is. So if you think of the essence of a moment-to-moment experience, I've described, I think at various intervals with you guys, in meditation and in practice of Qigong, how I've been given this great gift of, at various intervals, but one instance in particular, of completely, oh wow, it's really hard to even describe it, just merging with the Tao, I guess is the only way that I can say it. And it was just an enormous revelation when it happened. It lasted for about 3 hours, and I dissolved. That's the best, I guess, way that I can say it. And then when I came out of it, I, immediately felt, excuse me, the need to communicate this to a variety of my teachers. And because it was extraordinarily exciting and evoked emotion, and it was truly incredible. And the response I was met with was just don't try to get it again. So when it happens, just appreciate it for what it is and allow it to be, and it's a gift. So don't try to reach and grasp it. Don't try to repeat the experience. Now, this is where the second line comes in. I'm going to go back a couple of slides here. And the second quote is, to understand oneself is to study oneself in action with another person. Now, this is, of course, what we study in martial arts, and regardless of the style of martial arts, it doesn't matter. But what we're doing is we're recognizing interaction, interplay between the energies of two individuals and the energy that surrounds us. So, as Bill was referring to, the yin yang principle of being dynamically engaged in the play, the essence of being with those who we share this plane of existence with. Now, I don't necessarily think this has to be restricted to fighting. I think this is in every area of our life. You know, when we apply this principle, we can see that as martial artists, we study this interaction through every practice of movement. We aren't attempting to manipulate thoughts or actions, but to harmoniously respond to the stimulus of the partner, to be truthful, to be in the moment with every nuance, every essence of our being. So if we apply this principle in the context of relationships outside the kun, so Chinese kun is like a dojo in Japanese or a dojang in Korean, then we certainly learn a great deal from truly being present in a relationship without intellectualization. So it's, you know, as we've talked about multiple times, Derek has brought it up multiple times, you know, believe me, there have been plenty of times when I'd like to be the hermit on the hill. When everything feels overwhelming, it seems great to join a monastery, just go meditate someplace in the mountains forever. But that's running away, that's escaping. So what do? Well, once other people were introduced into the mix, then watch out, here it comes, you know, that's always where the conflict arises. And it's usually the interaction between the people that we care about the most. You know, they're the ones who push our buttons. So to maintain this sense of harmonious interplay with another individual, you know, how do we achieve that in an emotional context with those to whom we're closest? Well, that's a $99 question. And that's where I think this continual practice, this continual human essence, this discipline of maintaining a kind heart and maintaining a peaceful state of mind really comes into play. You know, Bill said he hadn't had to have a fight in 30 years. Well, I've been kind of in the same boat. Hadn't been quite that long for me, but you know, I quit competition fighting in my late 30s. Muay Thai was my main thing, and I did it because my heart made me do it. Quite literally, developed a severe heart arrhythmia that's remained with me ever since. And I personally believe that was probably my life's greatest teacher, because it forced me to embrace the soft. It forced me to embrace harmonious interplay rather than aggression. And but before that, peaceful resolution of conflict. Boy, that is the trick. And I think more importantly, the peaceful resolution of conflict before it ever becomes conflict within my own mind and with my own emotions is what my ultimate goal is, to release judgment before there ever becomes an opportunity for judgment to arise. So what do? We learn from our relationships. We learn how to relate, to be, to exist. And if we blow it one day, we just try to get a little bit better the next day. So as a result, growth, you know, that is, I think, ultimately the objective. If we look at the natural path, the natural order That is what occurs. We come from nothing, we evolve, we grow, hopefully, and then we dissolve, and then the process repeats itself. So aren't we fortunate to have the opportunity to study ourselves in action with another person every day, in every class? And then we can learn so much about ourselves. Then how do we do that? We follow a path. We follow multiple paths throughout our lifetimes. And as we do, hopefully we take a little step closer to what we hope to be a positive outcome. Yeah, I know that's certainly been the case in my experience, and it seems to be the case with many other people, and then those people to whom evolution of consciousness is an important and integral part of their life's journey. So I hope all of you have a wonderful journey throughout the year. I saw Diana online, so Diana, awesome to see you or hear, just know that you're there in Italy. And I hope everybody has a great week, and I look forward to speaking with you throughout the year.
Ed, that was great. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Couple of quick comments, and also to relay two messages from Diana. Hey Sifu, glad to be here. I'm glad you're doing this. And Diana, I'm sure many other people, including myself, are also very happy that Ed and of course Bill are doing these presentations. I wanted to also say that whenever I hear about Sifu Ed's mystical experience from previous times and also today, it's always for me, it's always a very soothing, a healing experience to hear about that. The reason why is because of my own limitation, my own fatal flaw, if you will, that having come from sort of a very rigorous scientific background, I'm always skeptical about everything. And sometimes I think, way too much over the top in that regard. So I really need that kind of reinforcement to tell me every now and then to reaffirm for me every now and then that indeed life, in reality, life, existence is far more than we can perceive with our physical senses, that it is far more than just a physical universe, that there's something out there that we can't quite understand or explain, but it's out there. The other quick comment, and this is in regards to the desire that Ed has expressed, I'm sure many people recognize in themselves, and that is sometimes it becomes so overwhelming that you feel like you just want to drop everything, give up everything, renounce everything, go to a monastery and just meditate. Why can't we just do that? There's that comes up from time to time. So that reminds me of this particular master who probably one of the most accomplished and most refined, spiritually refined masters in Taiwan today. His lectures are available on the internet. Unfortunately, it's all in Chinese. So what he talks about is that when he was a younger man, he had also thought about that, and very seriously. So he wasn't just, someone like you and me contemplating the possibility and then dismissing the idea. He actually went through with it. He actually joined a Buddhist an order of Buddhist monks, and he actually lived with that group for a while. Now, as a young man, what he quickly learned was that even among the monks, it was in essence no different than his previous interactions with people who were not monks, everyday people, friends, family, acquaintances, etc. in the sense that among the monks, there was just as much petty squabbling, as much backstabbing, rumor mongering, as there was in any other organization where people exist. So at a certain point, he concluded that, you know, these things that people do that we don't like, they are part of the human nature, and no monastery, no hermit-like existence, unless you are all by yourself, is going to ever erase that from human nature. The best thing to do is to not run away from it, but to learn to manage it and deal with it, you know, with the terms that we do have as we live out our lives. So those were his conclusions. I find myself agreeing with him, and I wanted to present that to you and to share that with you.
Thank you, Derek.